Honestly, I kind of want to have a conversation about patches in general, because there's always like this stigma around patch cycles and patch culture in fighting games around like you shouldn't patch a fighting game frequently or too soon or anything like that. And I really don't think that that mindset has held up in the modern era of fighting games. It's always been a thing since, way back when I got into fighting games around the SF4 days that, you should let a fighting game cook for a while. Give it a couple of months, even maybe a year for games to develop and characters to develop and matchups to develop. And I think that was true back in the day, but there's several key factors that have changed the landscape of current fighting games that I think makes that not accurate anymore. Insane amount more people playing fighting games at this point. You have that. You have the fact that we have online communication to a level that we did not have previously. You have things like Twitter, you have YouTube, you have Discord, you have Twitch. You have all these things, ways to share information, ways to discuss with other players, ways to share tech, ways to explore matchups and talk to people about matchups. Those types of things, along with the fact that you have more players playing to talk about the games with, those things alone give you so much more leeway with being able to speed up the process of which a fighting game and a character or a matchup is figured out. Another big thing for fighting games is that we have rollback netcode now. Like, we're actually able to play more people, we're actually able to play more often. So because of that, there's also more talented players at this point, because so many more people can get to the point where they're talented, right? Where they can get to the point where they're high level or top level. So because of strong netcode as well, it's so much easier for people to figure things out because they can just play everybody, right? We can learn games in and out very effectively because of online netcode and be able to play more good players. I think there's something to be said about how games are designed nowadays too. I think fighting games now are designed much more concisely, where before fighting games were kind of like, they kind of just did stuff back in older fighting games. And that's not to say they were good or bad. It's just the design philosophy that went into older fighting games was different. They kind of did things for fun, and obviously they tried to take balance into consideration, but it was much harder back in the day, especially because people were still learning how fighting games were played on a fundamental level. But fighting games now, a game like Guilty Gear Strive or Street Fighter 6, they're designed so much more concisely. A lot of people would refer to them as simplified, which in some cases they are, don't get me wrong. But I think just calling them simplified or easy, it kind of doesn't do the discussion the service that it should. I think it's more that they're designed concisely, and because of that, it's much easier as players for us to identify what is good and bad in a game. So all of these things combined between, more players, having more online communication, having better netcode, games are designed more concisely, we have more and, higher skilled players playing. I really don't think the idea of you should wait to patch a game really holds up at this day and age. Of course, I'm not saying you should just hot fix things after a week or two, but I think a character in Strive, for example, it is almost always clear how good that character is after a month or two at most. Think about it, right? Testament came out, we thought the character was bad week 1, they stayed bad for the entire, they're still bad actually, no matter how many patches we've gotten, they're still a bad character. We thought Sin was bad on launch, he stayed bad. We thought Batman was bad on launch, he stayed bad. Every time we think a character is bad, they've almost always stayed bad. There's never been an example I can really think of where we were blown away, right? No, people did not think Happy Chaos was bad. Okay, everyone brings that up when we talk about this conversation, and it annoys the hell out of me. I remember myself and other top players going into training mode with Happy Chaos day 1, labbing the character and being like, as long as these resources are not hard to manage, he is at minimum high tier. At minimum. As long as he is not hard to manage his resources, which obviously takes a little bit of time to get ideas for game flow, he's going to be good. And lo and behold, you gave him a month, people figured out how to manage resources, he's the best character in the game. It's the same thing with Asuka. Asuka came out and everyone was just like, yeah, if the resources are not hard to manage, he's probably going to be top tier. And guess what happened? You gave people a month to figure out how to manage the resources, and you see Gobo cooking up, Exodia, Asuka, and stuff like that. So sure, in the cases of Happy Chaos and Asuka, they ended up being good characters, and there was a little bit more time where people were being willing to say okay, let's give it some time, see if the character develops. Because those characters were more complex, they're more open-ended, so naturally we want to give them more time, but also they just seemed much obviously stronger. It's always a thing with Strive when a new character comes out, people are like, you shouldn't write a character off so soon. And I agree, you don't have to put your foot down and be like, no, this character is terrible. It's okay to have a first impression and decide, this character is probably going to be weak based on these things. And if we can fix those things, if we can find solutions to those things, maybe they'll be good. In the case of Strive, those solutions almost never come around for those characters. At this point, we've been playing the game for a while. What makes a character good in this game is pretty obvious. And it's not the type of game where you can like come up with some crazy nonsense that we've never seen before. Opinions are developing. And in fact, the whole point of giving opinions are so we can be constructive about it to find answers. If I'm saying Abba is bad, I'm not just saying it because I want to put my foot down. I'm saying I think she's bad because of this, this, and this. Does anyone have answers? At this point, it's pretty obvious Arcs just releases their characters bad on purpose. I mean, I personally don't think making DLC weak on release is bad design, but they should not take this long to fix them. This patch should have had Johnny and Elfel buffs in them, for sure. The fact that this patch, like, you didn't have to change other characters, just change Elfel and Johnny at minimum. If you make a character, I feel like you should already have ideas of what is maybe weak or too good about a character, and already have plans of how you would tweak those things. So Arxis, when they're making Abba, for example, should already have ideas of what is too weak about the character and have ideas of how to fix them. So that way when they start seeing those things come to fruition, they can get a patch out somewhat quickly.